I remember the exact moment my parents sat across from me at the kitchen table, their faces carrying that particular expression that meant we needed to talk about my future. I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school, and my head was full of dreams about college. Engineering degree, clear career path, everything mapped out perfectly. But the look in their eyes was not pride. It was something else. Something that made my stomach twist. I had no idea that in the next 10 minutes the college fund my grandparents had been contributing to for 18 years would no longer be mine. Before I dive into what happened next, let me know where you are watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe if you have ever felt like your family chose someone else over you. Trust me, this story gets worse before it gets better. Looking back now, I can see how carefully my parents had built up to that conversation. But at 18, sitting in our middle-class home in the suburbs with its 3 bedrooms, white fence, and basketball hoop over the driveway, I thought I knew exactly where my life was headed. My father worked as an accountant, steady and reliable. My mother was an administrative assistant at the local high school. We were not rich, but we were comfortable. And most importantly, I had that college fund. From the time I could understand money, I had heard about it. "We have been saving since you were born," my parents would say. My grandparents on my mother's side added to it every birthday, every Christmas. I knew the exact number because I had checked the statements when I turned 16. $43,000 sitting in a 529 plan, growing slowly but surely. It would cover my first year completely and a good chunk of my second year at the state university I had been accepted to. I had worked part-time at the grocery store for the last 2 years of high school, saving every penny I could for the remaining years. My older brother Derek was 3 years ahead of me, and we could not have been more different. Derek was the outgoing one, the one who could talk to anyone, make friends in seconds. But school had never been his thing. He dropped out of community college after 1 year, said it was not for him. I was the opposite. Quiet, more internal, but I loved math and science. I was in the top 5% of my class. My parents never compared us directly, but I could feel the difference in how they looked at us. That June evening, 2 months before I was supposed to start at the university, Derek came home more excited than I had seen him in years. He pulled all of us into the living room, practically vibrating with energy. He had a business opportunity, he said. A real one. He and his friend Kyle were going to open a coffee shop combined with a bakery. Kyle had the business plan. They had found the perfect location. All they needed was the initial capital. $50,000. My mother looked skeptical immediately. She asked about experience, about detailed projections. My father listened carefully, nodding along as Derek explained. Kyle had worked as a barista for years, Derek said. He would handle marketing and customer relations. I sat quietly, feeling uncomfortable, but not yet worried. This was Derek's thing, his dream. It had nothing to do with me. Then my mother asked the question that changed everything. "Where will you get $50,000? Derek looked at my father. Then he looked at me, and I felt something cold settle in my chest. My father cleared his throat. "We need to discuss this as a family," he said. His voice had a strange quality to it, careful and measured. Derek kept talking, filling the silence. The location was perfect. The rent was already negotiated. They just needed the capital to get started. My father suggested he and my mother talk privately first. 2 days later, they called me down to the kitchen table. Derek was not there, just my parents looking uncomfortable. My father started with the worst possible opening. "Hans, you know we love both of you boys equally." Every time my father said that phrase, something bad followed. My heart was already racing. They wanted to borrow my college fund for Derek. They explained it carefully, like they had rehearsed. Derek had struggled for so many years. This was his chance to really make something of himself. He would pay it back in 2 years, they promised, right when I would need it for my junior year. In the meantime, I could go to community college. It was cheaper, much cheaper. Then I could transfer to the university. It is just 2 years, Hans. Derek really needs this chance. I could not speak. It felt like someone had punched me in the stomach and all the air had left my lungs. That money was mine. My grandparents had saved for me. Grandma had passed away the year before, but she had always talked about wanting to see me graduate from college. What about my future? I finally managed to ask. My mother reached across the table. They would understand, she said. Family helps family. But what if the business fails? I asked. My father would not meet my eyes. Derek has a good plan. Kyle knows what he is doing. It was not an answer to my question. I tried to fight it. I really did. I laid out all the logical arguments. The fund was set up for me. My grandparents had contributed specifically for my education. But my parents had an answer for everything. Do you not want your brother to succeed? Do you want to be selfish? Derek came to my room, gave me the little brother speech. Come on, I will pay you back with interest, I promise. I called my grandfather. He was furious. He said he would talk to my parents. But without my grandmother there, he did not have much say in family decisions anymore. He and my father had a screaming match over the phone. Afterward, my father was angry with me for getting my grandfather involved. This is our family business, he said. Like I was the one causing problems. By July, it was over. My parents had already withdrawn the money from the 529 plan. Derek and Kyle had signed the lease on a storefront downtown. They were calling it Brothers Brew. Derek wanted the name to honor family, he said. I felt sick every time I heard it. That August, instead of moving into a dorm at the state university, I enrolled at the local community college. I had deferred my admission for 1 year. They said I could reapply after. I lived at home to save money, took the bus to campus, because my car needed repairs I could not afford. I worked 25 hours a week at the grocery store, trying to save every dollar possible for the following year. My friends from high school were posting pictures of campus life, dorm rooms, football games, new friends. I scrolled through Facebook and Instagram late at night, feeling like I had been left behind. Meanwhile, I could hear Derek coming home every evening excited about the shop, talking about customer feedback and menu planning. Brothers Brew opened in September with a big celebration. My parents invited extended family neighbors, anyone who would come. Everyone congratulated Derek on his entrepreneurship. I stood in the corner with a forced smile, holding a cup of overpriced coffee I had not paid for. Derek introduced me to customers. This is my little brother, he is in college. Community college, I corrected. Same thing, right? He laughed. It was not the same thing. Not even close. The first few months, the shop seemed okay. There were customers. Derek posted pictures on social media of latte art and smiling people. My parents were thrilled, see, my mother said. We made the right choice. I did not respond. What could I say? Part of me hoped the business would succeed so I could get my money back. Another part of me just felt bitter about the whole thing. Then March came, 6 months after the grand opening. I started noticing Derek coming home later and later. I heard him on the phone with Kyle, and they were not talking about menu items anymore. We are losing money every month, I heard through my bedroom wall. By April, Derek had stopped posting on social media. The shop looked different when I drove past it. Fewer customers. Some days it looked completely empty. In May, everything fell apart. Derek came home after midnight one night. I heard raised voices downstairs. The landlord wanted rent. Derek did not have it. Kyle had stopped answering his phone, just disappeared. Suppliers were threatening to cut them off because invoices had not been paid. The truth came out in pieces. They had hired too many employees at the start. They had spent too much on fancy interior design. The location had seemed perfect, but there was not enough foot traffic. The rent was crushing them. Neither Derek nor Kyle actually knew how to run a business. I was sitting on the stairs when Derek finally broke down in front of my parents. I do not know what to do. We lost everything. My mother held him while he cried. My father paced the living room. Nobody mentioned the $43,000. I walked down the stairs. What about my college fund, I asked. My voice sounded strange, hollow. Derek looked up at me, his eyes red. It is gone, Hans. I am sorry. Gone, all of it. He nodded. I turned to my parents. You promised he would pay it back. My father rubbed his face. These things happen in business. Derek tried his best. My mother looked at me like I was being cruel. Hans, your brother is hurting. Show some compassion. Compassion. I stood there looking at the three of them, and something inside me just went cold. Compassion for what? For my future being thrown away, for 18 years of savings gone in 6 months, but I did not yell, I did not cry, I just turned around and went back to my room. I sat on my bed that night, staring at the ceiling, doing calculations in my head. No college fund. No way to transfer to the state university in the fall. Another year of community college, maybe 2. Working part-time at the grocery store would not cover living expenses and tuition. My parents had no savings left. They had spent everything on Derek's disaster. My grandfather was retired and living on Social Security. There was nobody to help me. I opened my laptop and started searching. How to pay for college without money. I read about student loans, but the thought of graduating with massive debt terrified me. I looked at scholarship databases, but it was too late to apply for the next academic year. Then I found information about military education benefits. The GI Bill. Serve in the military, get full education paid for afterward, plus salary while serving, housing, healthcare. The next morning, I drove to the Army recruitment office in the strip mall near the highway. A sergeant named Martinez sat down with me, asked what I was looking for. I told him the truth. I need to pay for college, and I have no money. He did not judge. He just laid out the options. 4 years of active duty. After that, I would qualify for the post-9/11 GI Bill. Full tuition at any public university, housing allowance, books, everything. I could choose my MOS, he said, military occupational specialty. There were jobs related to engineering, construction, infrastructure. I asked about the hard parts, training deployment, the risks. Martinez did not sugarcoat it. It is not easy, he said, but it is a way forward. And sometimes a way forward is all you need. I thought about it for 2 weeks. Walked around campus, looked at my community college classrooms, imagined 2 more years of this. Then 2 years at university, if I could even afford it. Or I could leave. Start over. Build something that was actually mine. In July, I went back to the recruitment office and signed the contract. I chose 12 November as my MOS, horizontal construction engineer. I would ship out to basic training in August. When I told my parents, my mother cried. The Army, Hans, that is dangerous. Derek tried to talk me out of it. You do not have to do this. We can figure something out. I looked at him, really looked at him. Figure out what the money is gone. I need to figure out my own future. My mother kept crying. "What if something happens to you? I will be fine," I said. "This is my choice." My grandfather was the only one who understood. I called him and told him my plan. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Your grandmother would be proud. You are taking control of your life." He sent me a check for $1,000 for when you need it in the army. I cried that night. First time since everything happened. The week before I left, Derek tried to apologize again. "I really am sorry, little bro. Sorry does not give me back 4 years and $43,000, I said. He looked down. "I will pay you back someday." I did not respond. We both knew it was an empty promise. Basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia, was the hardest 10 weeks of my life. Physically, it was brutal. Wake up at 5 in the morning, physical training drills, more drills. But I loved it. The structure, the discipline, the clear rules. Everyone was judged on their effort and performance, not on their family name or their history. Nobody cared that my brother had stolen my future. They cared if I could complete the obstacle course, if I could march 20 miles, if I could follow orders and work as part of a team. Advanced individual training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri taught me actual skills: construction equipment, engineering principles, how to build roads, bridges, water systems. I was top of my class. My instructors noticed. They told me I should consider applying for warrant officer programs down the line. I was 19 years old, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. My first deployment was to Afghanistan. I was 20. We built infrastructure. Roads so supplies could get through, bridges over rivers, water systems for local villages. It was dangerous, it was stressful, but it was meaningful. I could see the direct impact of our work. Kids could go to school in buildings that would not collapse. Families had clean drinking water. I earned my combat engineer badge. I earned respect from my unit. Something shifted in me during that deployment. I realized I was stronger than I had ever known. I did not need my parents' approval. I did not need Derek's apology. I had discipline. I had skills. I had proven to myself that I could succeed on my own terms. The military community was built on mutual respect. You earned your place. Nobody handed you anything. After deployment, I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. I started taking online classes through the Army. The University of Maryland University College had programs designed for active duty soldiers. I took courses in engineering and business management during my off-duty hours. The Army paid full tuition. I was promoted from private to specialist, then to sergeant. I was selected for leadership courses. By the end of my 4 years, I had completed an associate degree entirely online while serving full-time. When my enlistment was coming to an end, I had to make a decision: re-enlist or get out. I loved the structure and the benefits, but I wanted to finish my bachelor degree. I wanted to start a civilian career in engineering. I decided to get out and use my GI Bill for full-time university attendance. I was 23 years old when I left the Army and enrolled at the same state university that had accepted me 5 years earlier, the one I was supposed to attend at 18. The GI Bill covered everything: full tuition, housing allowance of about $2,000 per month. I transferred all my credits from my online courses and from the community college. I only needed 2 more years to finish my bachelor in mechanical engineering. Being older than most of my classmates was strange at first, but the discipline from the Army made everything easier. I managed my time perfectly. I studied efficiently. My GPA was 3.8. I joined engineering clubs. I got an internship at a defense contractor company. My professors were impressed by my military background and my work ethic. I graduated with honors 2 years later. Multiple companies wanted to hire me. I accepted a position at an aerospace company in a different state, far from my family. That was intentional. The starting salary was $75,000 per year. I moved across the country and started my career. During those years, contact with my family was minimal. I called on major holidays because it seemed like the right thing to do. I visited at Christmas and Thanksgiving, but I stayed in hotels, not at their house. My parents saw my success. I could see pride in their faces mixed with something else. Guilt, maybe. They asked about my job, my life. They did not ask about the college fund anymore. Derek was still living with them. He had tried different jobs after Brothers Brew failed. Sales, real estate, insurance. Nothing stuck. He was 35 years old and still sleeping in his childhood bedroom. He always had a next big idea, but never followed through. My parents still supported him emotionally and financially. Now I am 32 years old. I am a senior mechanical engineer. My salary is $120,000 per year. 6 figures just like I planned. I own my condo. My car is paid off. My 401k is healthy. I have no student loan debt. No debt of any kind. I built this life myself, and nobody can take it away from me. Last year, Derek called me. I saw his name on my phone and almost did not answer. But I did. "Hey, little bro," he started. "I have this opportunity, another business idea." He needed a loan, just $10,000 to get started. This time would be different. He promised he would pay me back. I listened to the whole pitch without saying a word. When he finished, I said one word. No. There was silence on the other end. What, come on, man? Family helps family? I had heard that line before. 9 years ago, I said. You used that exact line. You took my college fund. $43,000. You never paid back a single cent. I helped once. I will not do it again. Derek got defensive. That was not my fault. The business environment was tough. The economy. I cut him off. I am done with excuses, Derek. Good luck. I hung up. My parents called me the next day. They were upset. Derek really needs help. You have money now. You could spare $10,000. I took a breath. I have money because I earned it. I served my country. I worked hard. I made sacrifices. Derek made choices too. Different choices. My mother's voice got sharp. He is your brother. Why are you so cold? I am not cold, I said. I am protecting what I built. Alone. Without help from any of you. I am sitting in my office right now, looking out the window at the city skyline. The sun is setting, casting orange light across the buildings. I am thinking about the journey from that 18-year-old kid whose family betrayed him to this independent man with a successful career. I do not regret joining the Army. If my parents had not given my college fund to Derek, I probably would have gone the traditional route. College at 18, graduate at 22, get a job. It would have been fine. But I would not have learned the things the military taught me. Discipline, resilience, self-reliance. The knowledge that I can handle whatever life throws at me because I have already handled much worse. I would not have seen the world. I would not have built roads in Afghanistan or helped villagers get clean water. I would not have discovered how strong I actually am. Getting betrayed by the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally does not have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning. The moment when you realize you do not need their approval or their support to succeed. You just need to believe in yourself enough to take the first step forward. I do not hate Derek. I do not hate my parents. I just do not let them define my life anymore. They made their choices. I made mine. Saying no when Derek asked for money was not about being mean or holding a grudge. It was about respecting myself and the life I built. It was about understanding that helping someone is not the same as enabling their bad decisions. My parents still wonder why I keep them at a distance, why I do not visit more, why I said no to Derek. They see it as me being cold or unforgiving. But it is not about forgiveness. I forgave them a long time ago because holding on to anger was just hurting me. This is about boundaries, about protecting my peace, about recognizing that love does not mean sacrificing yourself over and over for people who do not value your sacrifice. Sometimes the best thing family can do is step back and let you become who you are meant to be. And sometimes the people who hurt you the most end up giving you the greatest gift. Freedom. Freedom to find your own path. Freedom to build your own life. Freedom to say no without guilt. I do not need my family's validation anymore. My success is not about proving something to them. It is a gift I gave myself. The gift of independence, of self-respect, of a future I built with my own hands. Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and your own future? Have you ever been betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect you? Drop a comment below and share your story. Hit that like button if this resonated with you. Subscribe to hear more real-life stories about overcoming betrayal and building the life you deserve. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that it is okay to put yourself first sometimes. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that your worth is not determined by how your family treats you. It is determined by how you treat yourself. Take care of yourself out there. You deserve it.